episode for high GC News. Mema Obibia Kwaba. Hadia latest and hot news. Mkwa enamini Bremo. Enunti so nyang subscribe to channel idea bomodi and say obe subscribe. The obeyan say we click the subscribe button. Now a belly notification. We had a video for free be upload when the first person I was a beka AS video. I feel we are now like a video and give us a thumbs up. Now fi share my wa for so now when you be here. Now who and someone I so ewo Ghana memo hanum. Afi yebura ye and someone abeto yep so. Yiti a yes I report here about to yiti azimi yiti.
Over the weekend any say Parliament orientation ewo ho. And I think Thursday no na sa argument and start here. Anno Dompreh sorry what Parliament to say. Sir President Mahama say or kati cost na fimpo Independence Day celebration or yeah ewo Jubilee House or dear. And your Parliament orientation now wamudi new MPs no wamonya wo chamber to cut costs. And for that reason, my micro minority as wama boycott orientation na air cost no. Me so wama boycott to so wama boycott to enya no na ayabasem but enyina so na wamu gina ayade boycott yade na yamasem. Say ene Anno Dompreh any Afenyo Markin mini micro minority form your NPP MPs and we here see a cut cost. And what Ghana ha? You hypocrisy. I dear your friend in Yachumwahu. And ya dear men power my brother and you probably me no one number we Yachumbiam and Pewasem. Ma yes, and yes, who know. And true conquansa Yachum. And ya dear Bakwa be creating cry. Anno Dompreh NPP MPs mini micro fadia no amoya no eya political hypocrisy. He sese munim ade bia ni ho abobeya mo ho beya kono sese yo. Enti se kamene mu a e kameye di no ma se dia mamwo na ekọ na ne ebedu 2028 na mwade papa bia be package a ma package dia magana fo ahwese won beji ada so wo moge. Muti wana sa wajagbawe MP no kwa de sempo. Akwa went to Parliament did some hunu. He are your first time MPO. Or to Parliament, Moya penny for my orientation, Muda Sudin Munu Parliament, Ebu table, as some conda, and it's a table a pumpum, or no, you new MP no buy and over Johnny Muda da father who did some hunu. On orientation, and Musamanenko. Now, our orientation, our demon penny for a chamber, watch channel. What was some 4 hour do a Parliament? It is a say now, Musaman orientation, no, or no matter who order na MPs na more Parliament one, chamber one anchor, and Kwanya for Yamojuma. Parliamentary proceedings, no, or better when you're hunim dear. And you see, some many micro minority for no, or over 40 new MPs. Our Mudamaba Parliament this last year. It is some Muslim boycott to orientation, no. Muamaba orientation, I'm MPs, and I'm who come first while you're my Juma now say, more Jai Wamunoma Bayas and Yama Basabasano Parliament. Now, I am a de papa say, and MPP for a person will more catch and say, Yan cut a cost. Yet na Ghana ha ekachira NPP aban say send your mutimi high private jets Edibesi airport me Akufo Addo ene abira ayise wabroni edware wom no bo man ne ka mo kachira ye say oba panyi ewo so aya relax otimi dware wo wiem no otimi da ewo play mu enti ne kwan so no say ye rent jet ne ya rent jet dey si airport no esi wo kwa plane no etuo and two every hour bia will be any sika yetua wo Ghana ha. Think 18,000 pounds or what? And yet says sika na apale na ye ka. Yatina Ghana ha makano for Atta se wano why successful in raising bond. And why watch any kenke party. Obi a wonim nyansa kwabo bosia de be party. Sammy Kwaya Makobusiabo, hallelujah, Makobusiabo, Yamama Bosia, and your Bosiana from Abaya party. I read a room. Some people before them say young cut a cost. Yeah, your orientation, my MP said, who Kwanya on my first why you woman Juma with chamber. I fed your mini macro minority today. Wouldn't send you a service. It's more boycotting orientation, you know. Maybe catch a speaker say. So one my boycott to us, one more boycott to you, say, Mrana, what chamber when I was a year, Juma. What would bet to our from Mranibia was a speaker, a punish show. Now, no, some Munu wa appointment committee, so as say your microphone says a boo and quota at the expense of young taxpayers. So I now see at the Pelemo. Once a speaker, mom, 2 weeks suspension, Crano, and yet did they were commander, speaker, or you soon the powers of the morning in a moon question, yet, find the anime Jumamo constituency. What was it? Me leaders in my men, my boycott. Abrahuba Parliament will first action over here and say, Ubaboom, that's a microphone. Well, first, I don't know, Buboom, Konya, and to 2 microphone, SNS Kataho. Why do you say what Niamana would do constituency one? Oh, ya foul or Gorono, and nobody a your chamber when you buy and one away. Quarantine as a man call a boy manica, who I fed your wooden send your service come on mine. Now, Akufo Addo took from her, and West to a minus Sikana Yakana, so no more see a young DC for. Near your anti government, that is the word I'm using my. Ya can't some must see your anti government. Yet no crumb her, Emma can offer Atta. Nanije wants to do a money bobosia because what do a money bobosia and a data bank benya chefa. Or do a money bobosia, na data bank a whole percentage. And to turn be an nanije wants to a magana bobosia near Boka. Sata no one can check an offer Atta say, who poor maneka save you cost. Near Tina Ghana ha, Nasha 7 years than Sabah 40 yogum, more can't ya can say, Dana B. And then crop for some more bought minor chrono, more bought minor cat, more catch a cost, more when you are Casa natural woman. Now, the Danko Kufado, extra chrome had to private jet, more can't channel, or tell a whole land cruise at Yakonyasim, and the police in a driver camo, and so air conditions see a conyaso, more can't channel Kufado say, Aquayana would you see come one no qua, a child road to come a carbon a jai. Quarantine, I will say a carbon to Menko. Near Yana Janua Bata Parliament, no dim quasem. Bewa. Near Twania Hill. Sha, MPP for young crophobia. Who come, Master Mawun can read that. Or my viewers as a muquano. I don't know that kind of perception that you people have. But at the end of the day, they end up doing nonsense. Omajiam so many attention ni pe bia wa Ghana ha yet ya wonya NPP ni ho a obusa wo ya boa bi kra chese some mindset na wo ma adwenum mo adwen mo ne ye no e na de mo to opposition abetra ho ache ha mo betra ho ache me na me ka kire wo bukọ mo ne ye na mo de ti Ghana ha mo bo ban mo adwen ya mo se so bi nka mo ho asa nipa no wo nye nipa. And that's the reason why I'm young Casaminia or Katachi, Adia Wuye, one Casa wouldn't say Jandam, and so would ye. Sad and Adia Bakwa Mempe, a media beef for some wine. But to the minister would see some na a yawu say, ignorant people will listen to this kind of characters and they will form a different idea. Wow, sad tribalism na, ya wagana hano, yan should be ye pa. Some penny for no more ministers, any MPs in here, yet not radio any TV, so I condemn it. Now, whereby a journalist, a better TV, and also a better social media. Now, all play tribalism. Then I begin to ask myself, since it's the panel, or Buni Passa wa Nipa. It is because Umu Yanko Nipa Umuno. What Jenya says, so be ya Kenny ya Santini or no quano ye dipentino. So be ye Amunani, no be free at if you do mantum was and your own Ghana. And if you take cabinet ministers, President Mahama I used to see Northern region now walk on one some class say President Mahama I'm gonna for Northern region. It's from a mono if I was saying. Bonafide representation wom, Western region representation wom, Asante region representation wom, Eastern region, all regions now what kind of hanging now regional balance. Take the cabinet ministers and check. then you can sit on social media. Say, President Mahama, yes, please, this below the belts. Below the belt. Say, yan she yahu, yadi what time be to yan kasa yahu tem, but yenim. Eti ane na obi hu ne ho so ya santini ya kani no hu anwunani anadwen ya se sa nipa ne nya nipa na dwen ya se sa nipa no onka Ghana ho obi ya kani ya santini no hu sremni a na dwen ya se sa nipa no onye nipa anaso onka Ghana ho. That thing is wrong. And ya continuously wa Ghana ha ama yedin chichemu bia bayemu bayanim se edi yenya.
Presented last Friday, he did indicate that the central bank governor is being programmed to apprise the house today, and same has been advertised. Our side is of the view that in spite of that process initiated by the majority leader, the right procedure to trigger our jurisdiction as a house would be for the matter to be properly raised. Mr. Speaker, this is all our prayer. It is therefore in your hands to take a decision so that the House can make progress. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor to Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the practice of this House regarding asking questions is known.
Mr. Speaker,
This House does not only ask have come up during debate or during the sitting of the House. In this House, any member, by our standing orders, can ask a minister, the head of an independent constitutional body, or even a colleague member of parliament, any question of any matter that is within the bosom of that person. I can actually ask the minority leader a question about a matter that is within his purview as minority leader, because he is chair of some committees of parliament. I can ask him a question about his functions in relation to that committee or any matter pertaining to that committee. I can ask any member of parliament a question relating to your constituency, because that is what our standing orders say. There's no provision in our standing orders saying that before any of us asks a question of a minister or the head of an independent constitutional body, that matter must have risen in some debate. No. When did that happen? When? Since the time you became minority leader, when did you amend the standing orders? When? This is common practice. Questions have been asked today of the Minister for Local Government, and he is here to answer. Are there matters that have arisen in some debate in this House? No. It's the same way. Whether the matter has arisen in this House or not, we can ask questions. And in this case, the matter arose, and it's common knowledge. And the rules say that if the matter is of public interest and within the bosom of the head of the independent constitutional body, then we can ask them questions. And I gave the speaker notice. The speaker said, okay, go ahead. Then I went to business committee meeting. I drew the attention of business committee that because these questions are asked at the committee of the whole sittings, because for independent constitutional bodies, it should be at committee of the whole sittings. So I requested for a committee of the whole sitting today for the governor to come and answer the question. And our business committee, they agreed. Your members were there, 4 of them. They did not object. We came to this House to present the report of the business committee, and I repeated it. I indicated that at business committee, it was agreed unanimously that the governor will be scheduled to come today and come and answer a question specifically relating to the cost of the Bank of Ghana head office building. Nobody objected in this house. Nobody. The only matter that you objected to was the issue of the allocation of speaking numbers to both sides of the house. Everything else was adopted in this house. And the clerk then wrote to the governor, summoning the governor to come and then address us, answer the question, apprise us of the cost of the head office building of the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I don't know what this hula baloo is all about. I don't know whether there is an attempt to run away from that answer. I don't know whether people are afraid of the information that the governor will be providing. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that the public has an interest. Thousands of people demonstrated in this country. In fact, this house, about 136 members of parliament marched to the old head office building of the Bank of Ghana to present a petition in relation to this particular matter. I am surprised that when a governor becomes available to come and give answers relating to the cost, some people will seeking to run away from it. Mr. Speaker, what is all this? Let's just sit and listen to the governor. Let him tell us the cost. It's a public asset. They use public money to procure it. And we represent the public here. And we want to know how much it costs. How is that an issue? Even if there is, let's say that some anomaly in the procedure, please, in the interest of the public, let us hear him. Oh, it's okay. All right, it's okay. Mr. Speaker, can we invite the governor to come and give us the cost of the building?
Honorable members, it has been said that this house is not against accountability. We are all in support of our institution being accountable to Ghanaians through their representatives. As such, we are really not against the governor of the Bank of Ghana coming to brief the House on the cost of construction of the headquarters of Bank of Ghana at Ridge.
Chairman, with respect, the governor in his submission is saying that he has forwarded some document to leadership and he hopes that this will enable us ask the relevant questions. But respectfully, we haven't received any document. I think they are now sharing the document. So I just want him to wait for a moment for us to have this document.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. The document has even been loaded on the console. So, Governor, please proceed. Honorable Governor, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the discussions around a new headquarters for the Bank of Ghana date back to 2011, when the board at the time considered acquiring land for the project. However, the board at the time could not settle on a specific location until its tenure ended. Mr. Speaker, even in 2016, when I was a deputy governor, the same issue was being considered. However, we could not settle on an appropriate location. In 2019, under a new board of the Bank of Ghana, a structural integrity audit was conducted, and this showed that the existing head office, which was built in the late 1950s, had developed significant structural defects and was no longer fit for purpose. Mr. Speaker, we have provided a copy of this document also on the structural integrity audit that was conducted in 2019. Following this, Mr. Speaker, the board of directors at that time approved the development of a new corporate headquarters, citing security, operational efficiency, and long-term institutional needs as key factors. Mr. Speaker, in 2020, the land was acquired at West Ridge, and I am informed that a competitive procurement process that was approved by the Public Procurement Authority led to the selection of Mr. Goldkey Properties Limited as the contractor under a turnkey arrangement. Mr. Speaker, the project was initially valued by the PPA at $81.8 million US, but later increased to $121.1 million after the Bank of Ghana requested for re-evaluation. Mr. Speaker, we want to assure this Honorable House that the new board will exercise its oversight.
Thank you very much, Honorable Governor, for Bank of Ghana and your team. Honorable members, I intend to open the floor for some questions, clarifications. Honorable Ampim Nyako, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have heard the governor, and we are happy that he's been able to provide this information. I just want to find out why the contract was awarded in dollars and not in cedis. And then secondly, you said you acquired the land. Is the cost of the land part of the cost of construction that you've given us, or is that separate? And if it is separate, have you paid fully for the cost of the land? Thank you.
Several questions, and Alexander, okay, well, honorable member, you have the floor.
Yes. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I have a couple of questions for the governor. The first, I will reference him to paragraph 18 of the document he shared, which is talking about the cost per square meter of the building. According to the report, he's saying that the cost per square meter of this head office building is $2,068, which compares with international standard of $2,658. And so, from his own statement in paragraph 18, the value per square meter of the building is way below what it is compared to international standards. If the governor is aware, if you check with EcoBank Ghana, all the buildings that have been built here in this country in comparative terms, the cost per square meter is still even lower in the case of the Bank of Ghana than even the EcoBank building. And so, this assertion, even with all the security complexities of the building that we see today, the issue of value for money that you're talking about, I think it is adequately addressed over here. The second question I want to refer him to. The second question I'm giving to you is that in terms of the approvals, the procurement approvals, is the governor telling this house that all the Bank of Ghana, did Bank of Ghana sidestep?
Honourable members, we move to item numbered 9. So, Honourable Minister for Education, Honourable Haruna Idrisu, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement in thanking His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic, for honoring his respect to the 1992 Constitution, in particular Article 67, by coming to share with this House the state of the nation. And Mr. Speaker, to share what he said, a sad, sorry state of our country, Ghana. A country riddled with debt, a country struggling with unsustainable debt, a country that has introduced in its economics new vocabulary for those now studying economics: haircut, debt exchange, domestic exchange. This was not known to students of economics in the 90s because the economy was so well managed. Mr. Speaker, today you have them who prided themselves that they were superior managers of the economy. Today, public debt is at 741 billion. If we add the road sector debt, 29 billion, electricity, 80 billion, to 71 billion, what is left with the state? What is left with the state? That you don't want President Mahama to describe it as a sad one. It's indeed a sad one. Mr. Speaker, unemployment has increased. Cost of living has increased. The private sector in Ghanaian businesses destroyed. But Mr. Speaker, let me focus on governance before I come back to the economy. Mr. Speaker, when President Mahama first under the Fourth Republic, we have had ministers from 110 to 88 to 93 to 88. He is setting a new benchmark for this country. And Mr. Speaker, the new benchmark is that he will govern this country with 60 ministers. Undeniably, the smallest size of government ever under the Fourth Republic. No president have run this country with 60 ministers. However difficult or good it may be, Mr. Speaker, the lesson is that this country must stand with him to work to reduce the size of government. When you take Article 78, it says that the president shall run the country with such ministers as he may require. Mr. Speaker, it's only important that the Constitutional Review Committee will take up this matter, and this parliament must stand with the Constitutional Review Committee so that we have a ceiling for the number of ministers that any president in Ghana will want to work with tomorrow. It should not be left to any president to come and say, I'm reverting back to 110, I'm reverting back to 80, I'm reverting back to 90. If John Dramani Mahama can run this republic with 60 ministers, let it be the minimum that every other president tomorrow should run with. He didn't run government with your elephant size of government in 2017. In 2017, you ran government with 110 ministers. That counts. The facilities, the privileges of ministers is cost to the state. So once he cuts the size of government, he is reducing cost to the state and making money available which can support unemployment and others. But Mr. Speaker, as I have indicated,
let the Constitutional Review Committee take up this matter. Let Parliament support them so that in reviewing the Constitution, we provide for a minimum of ministers that any president can have tomorrow. So that it is not like 60. President Mahama provided a ceiling of 60. The Constitutional Review should respect that ceiling, and presidents in future should run with that. Then, Mr. Speaker, IMF, they were running. They said superior managers of the economy. What happened to the Fiscal Responsibility Act? It was on suspension even before you exited political power. You said you wanted fiscal prudence. You brought in the Fiscal Responsibility Act with Ken Ofori as your minister. When we said censure him, you said no. Now that you have lost, you want to blame him for everything. You supported him to mess the country up, mess the economy up, and mess your administration up. So walk in regret and live in regret. When we said that he should be called to order, you overborrowed. And Mr. Speaker, again, let this parliament work for the people of Ghana. Ghana needs to have a ceiling on how much we can borrow. It cannot be at every time as it pleases a finance minister. He walks here, Parliament fails in its responsibility, grants him between 2017 and 2021 before COVID, $3.5 billion. Yet the previous NDC administration did just $1 billion. So again, elephant appetite for borrowing. Your government had an elephant appetite for borrowing. At every time you wanted to borrow, and you borrowed, you undertook fiscal infrastructure. You said you were building Agenda 111 hospital, 88. At least, if 2 or 3 of it was functional, it will make meaningful contribution to maternal health, improve healthcare delivery in Ghana. Your overambitious initiative, you got none completed. Are more interested in winning votes at the December election than caring for the lives of Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, President Mahama will soon launch the Mahama Cares, where some money will be dedicated and seed money provided to the Mahama Care, which will deal with diseases that are not catered for under the National Health Insurance Fund. Mr. Speaker, then to IMF. You said you won't go to IMF. You finally held a calabash begging the IMF. Yet you were here that no, you must govern with some sincerity. Today we are back to IMF. This is the 17th IMF program of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we will have to resolve as a country have to deal with it. Mr. Speaker, then President Mahama also promised 24-hour economy. And let me assure members of this House that it is not going to be driven largely by the public sector. It will be a private sector driven initiative of President Mahama. And Mr. Speaker, sooner than later, the Minister for Finance and Attorney General will be in this House to amend the Ghana Investment Promotion Act, the GIPC Act, to provide for adequate strategic incentives to any investor who wants to invest in a 24-hour economy. We need to expand the manufacturing sector of this country. Investors such as Agyapong Textiles, Akusumbo Textiles, and Palugu Tomato Factory. Any investor who can bring in money and run it for 24-hour economy, President Mahama in this parliament will support him to do that, so that it will generate employment and also contribute to the GDP growth. What this parliament, Mr. Speaker, must insist in future, you came with one district, one factory. You are reminded, do you have one in Wale Wale? Is your watermelon factory functioning well? Ask whether the Nsawam factory is working. But Mr. Speaker, the important thing is that in granting tax exemption and incentives to the private sector, we must ask 3 questions as Parliament. 1, how much are you contributing to employment? 2, what is your contribution to GDP? Before we make those generous grants to them. But Mr. Speaker, if you take from Kumasi, Ashanti up to Wale Wale, you will not find any factory that employs 1,000 or 2,000 people. So for instance, the people in the Brown region, poultry, government will want to invest in poultry farming. That is their advantage. We should support them to do that. Cashew, we should support them to do that. So the 24-hour economy
government will provide, under the leadership of President Mahama, an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. Not your government which came and destroyed the Ghanaian private sector. Yes, go and ask the private sector, whether AGR or Association of Ghana Industries, the harm when they were borrowing at those prohibitive interest rates, it did not allow for that. So, Mr. Speaker, then I come to the energy sector. This country, Mr. Speaker, we need a second gas plant. Beyond Atuabu gas, maybe in Kumasi somewhere in Sunyani, we should be thinking of the establishment of another gas plant so that we reduce the fuel consumption, which is part of the cost of the electricity company of Ghana. Again, it was the NDC, the vision of John Evans Atta Mills at the time, who invested $800 million in getting the Atuabu gas plant constructed. Look at the gain and the benefits that it has done. All this year that you borrowed 741, almost $50 billion. What did you do with that money? What did you do with that money? Then, Mr. Speaker, they failed again to thank President Mahama for introducing ESLA. Those were part of the taxes you described as nuisance taxes. Yet you benefited
conclude.
45 billion from the energy sector lady. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude with my sector, education. Mr. Speaker, on education, we remain committed to expanding access to quality education from primary to secondary education. All the abandoned GET Fund projects in your various constituencies, various universities, with an uncapped GET Fund, will receive substantial investment in getting all those uncompleted projects completed. I'll work with the Minister of Finance to uncap GET Fund. We will introduce digital technological hub in the provision of higher education from pre-tertiary level. Mr. Speaker, this year, every public university will get GET Fund support to support 5 PhD students under a new local scholarship secretariat initiative, so that each public university can train Ghanaians under a scholarship program. Mr. Speaker, we also review curricula. We have difficulties with some Ghanaian languages we need to write, myself and you, Mamprusi and Dagbani. There's no literature on it, we need to work on it. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank His Excellency the President for giving us the state of STEM schools. We will build more. Each region will get a STEM school. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, but don't think that tomorrow there is an election and Ghanaians will forget how you mismanage this economy with a single economy, single debt.
Thank you very much,
Yo, it for winning and somewhere abeto yapuno so because so when you subscribe to channel idea but more than say over subscribe say had the latest and hot news and kwa Aremeyaw Bremo Afenyo na like video give us a thumbs up na fi share ma wo foforo so da when you be here na wo hu and somewhere koso e wo Ghana memu ha also betimi otchere wadwen afaye and some way nyina ho e wo comment box ni mu mo beti binkabiu in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.